What stood out to you today, man? Now that you got to get home and get a ice cold drink and sit under the AC for a couple of hours, what stood out to you at camp today, man?
The heat, the heat. And I think the willingness of every single guy on that practice field to just grin and bear it and grit through it and put together a really good practice. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty as we go here. Obviously, we had kind of a historic day. We had both teams doing a set of push-ups to close out practice today. So that's good, I think, right? That means a draw. That means, or I don't know, we should have a winner each practice. I'm not sure. But what really stood out to me the most, again, was Coach Covington and his hands-on approach. And also the way he works really well with Coach Ogobasi as well. Those two in tandem, working with that defensive front. I think we're going to see big changes this year, guys. And I know that's been a big gripe from a lot of the fan base is that front and that quote unquote pass rush or lack thereof or whatever you want to call it. I'm seeing changes happening in real time every day. If you go hang out by the fence like me, man, and watch those guys work, it's something to see. So that really stood out. That and of course, Stack, Big Nas Stackhouse, man. That guy is a beast among men. You get close to him, man. It's there's limited shade out there, but if you stand close enough and you're near Nazir Stackhouse, you'll get a little bit of shade out there on a sunny afternoon. No worries.
Exactly. 2-0 for this in the chat says, I love the energy from everyone at camp. Everybody just wants to work without distraction. It's more refreshing than high quality H2O on a day like this.
Get some high quality H2O.
Right. Ran off with a voodoo woman named Phyllis.
Hey, the foosball.
All right, let's get into it, guys. Overview of practice number 4. The Green Bay Packers held their 4th training camp practice on Sunday following an off day on Saturday. Monday's practice will be the first with pads, allowing for better evaluation of players, especially in pass protection and fitting up on opponents, as noted by head coach Matt LaFleur. Tim, are you going to be at that padded practice tomorrow as I try to adjust my mouse wire over here?
Does a bear crap in the woods? You know I will.
They do.
A bear usually craps in Chicago too,
Yes. That is a fact there. So
yeah, I'll be there to answer your question like a normal human. Yes, I will be there.
So I don't know, look down and I'm like, my mouse cord was, I don't know, curled up around 17 different things over here. I'm like, why is my mouse not moving?
It's so exciting though to get this close, and now we're on the eve of padded practice, and these last couple of years, I would say normally around this time, like, oh boy, now the real practice starts. The pads are coming on. It's going to get real. Man, it's been real since day one. Like, these guys are going full bore, full throttle since day one, and it's refreshing to really see. So if you guys are out here and get a chance to go to camp, at least for a day, go experience it for yourself. It's really fun to watch these guys working as a unit.
Yeah, and this might be the stat of the day right here, and I do believe this is accurate. 2-0 for this says, I think Caleb Williams has thrown more picks than Brandon McManus has made field goals. And just so you know, Brandon McManus has made every field goal he's kicked to the best of my knowledge. So, Jacob, what do you think, man? What stood out to you as we broke down the show earlier today before we get into the injury updates here from today's camp practice?
Man, it's just it seems like everybody has a common goal. Like Tim said, kind of like these guys aren't wasting time this year. And in previous years, it seems like maybe that, we had I don't want to say that we were sissy footing around kind of thing. I really cleaned up my language right there. I almost said something real bad. I just think that these guys have an understanding that there's a goal, and it's not, to make it deep in the playoffs. There's not a goal to win the division. There's a goal to win the championship here, to bring Lombardi home. And I think that everybody on this team understands that. And it would seem like that's kind of a given every year. It's not. It really isn't. And I think that this team understands what it takes, what they're going to have to dedicate themselves to be in this preseason, in the off season, into the actual season to actually make that happen. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of individual work that everybody has to do. They can't be too proud of can't have too much pride in themselves to realize that like they need to get better in multiple ways. We've heard Tucker Kraft say how he has to get better. Jaden Reed has talked about how specifically how he has to improve on certain things. Jordan Love, obviously the leader of the helm here, has talked about how he knows that what he has to do in the offseason to make sure that he has the best product to put on the field. And it's nice to see that that they're like right here, like Coach Glenn saying, they're setting that tone early. We want to make sure that we know that there's one goal in mind and everybody has that same like mind feeling. So I'm excited about that.
Our guys better wake up with their piss hot, like I said before. So.
That's right. As Jen Wright says in here, got to keep that belt to ass. That's exactly right, Mrs. Rice. Got to keep it going. All right, injury updates. Players back at practice included left guard Aaron Banks, who was limited to individual drills. Running back Amar Johnson participating in practice. All right. Savion Williams, who missed the previous practice due to a concussion, went through individual work. Now, is that true, Tim? You did not see him in like any kind of 11-on-11 scenario, right?
No. And, in my defense, like I'm obsessed with the defense. So, I saw mostly defense football today. But I did see every time I saw him, he was not doing anything team activity wise. And I would anticipate that would probably be more of the same tomorrow. Just my speculation, if the pads are coming on and he's in the, whatever the concussion protocol is during the preseason, I'm not sure what that is, or training camp concussion protocol. I'm sure it's similar to, anything else during the season. So he's probably got to go through that process before they're really going to cut him loose with team activities, I would think.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so players still not practicing. Quay Walker with the ankle, though doing individual work with a helmet on, as you can see here in this shot that Tim got. Once again, same as yesterday, Tim, he was out there hitting the sled a little bit, right, and doing some other agility drills, and now you're seeing him again pretty much in the same spot, right? So what do you think, man, based off what you've seen with Quay Walker? And I know this isn't really an educated guess. I get it. We have no inside information. You think he'll put the pads on tomorrow, or do you think they'll wait until later in the week or maybe next week, Quay Walker? What's the vibe you're getting there, man?
I don't know. It's so tough to read. I can tell you that when I saw him doing these drills, he did a little bit of hands drills, catching some interceptions, kind of simulated cutting and movement on that ankle. And then he was doing fumble recovery drills and a lot of agility stuff. Everyone's looking at how he's moving around. And I really think we're getting closer to that point where, if he feels like he's ready to go, I think they may just let him do it. But to answer your question, in my opinion, maybe not tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
maybe,
what I was thinking.
Maybe more of what we saw today, maybe the helmet, no pads, and just doing more rehab. And there's no reason to rush him right now. I mean, we have enough linebackers out here running around. There is no reason to rush Quay back at all.
And you're wanting to get as much of a look at Tyron Hopper as you can in this camp, third-round pick to take a big step. Isaiah Simmons, you want to make sure you get him enough reps. Isaiah McDuffie is kind of in the camp, in my opinion, that put him on the back burner a little bit. Let's see what we got in these other guys because we kind of seen what Duff can do.
Zay McDuffie has earned that. He's earned that right, I think, but based on the way he's played these past couple of seasons for us. And, I think it's a good thing. We got to keep our core pieces healthy,
Yeah, with Quay, Jacob, for me, man, it kind of feels like there's a chance we could see him a little later in the week, maybe by Wednesday or Thursday's practice, but I'm kind of feeling like it's going to be next week before we truly see him out there in 11-on-11.
Maybe it's family night, guys. What a treat that would be if maybe he runs around on family night a little more active and then go into that next week,
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Jacob? You think it's going to take a week or so like Jen's saying here?
I hope it does, honestly. I don't want us to force him back. We've obviously seen what it is to have with Quay Walker playing at when he's at his best. That's a pretty good linebacker right there. And obviously we talked about how difference maker it can be when him and Cooper are together. So yeah, I don't want to risk anything going into the regular season by forcing him back too quickly. I want to have those guys absolutely ready to go. And do I want him on the field? Of course, obviously I do, but I want him to come back when he's ready. Don't force it. Like Tim said, just make sure that we have the best 11 going into that defensive, any sort of game. I want the best 11 going in. And that means that Quay Walker is a part of that. And I need him to be absolutely sure that when he comes back, he's ready to do it on his terms. And I can't tell you guys how excited I am to see him and Coop together, both of them healthy, right? So let's just make sure that he is healthy when he steps on that field.
Definitely. So other players still not practicing. Christian Watson with the knee. Obviously, we don't expect him back until a minimum of probably week 5, and it'll probably be much later than that, to be honest with you. But I don't expect anything at least until week 5, week 6 when they come out of that bye, right? So we'll see what happens there. Colin Oliver with the hamstring still out. John Williams with the back, he's still out. And Elton Jenkins listed with the back injury. Of course, we know
we already know what's up with that. The Brinks truck up injury. Yeah. I wanted to mention Colin Oliver real quick if I could, because you asked me at the top of the show what stood out to me, and I forgot to mention him. Colin Oliver dealing with this hamstring. Talk about someone who wants to play football really bad and is fully engaged. We had video of him hyping up the teammates during the water break. He does these drills where, he doesn't have the helmet on. He's not allowed to really run, full speed with the guys, but he's mimicking it and he's staying engaged and he's focusing on what's being taught out there. This is a guy that I would keep my eye on as camp progresses, because hopefully he's healthy and back really soon, because I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do out there. I really am.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So again, that's your injury update from today's training camp practice. So Jen Wright says, I like Oliver being on the field watching intently. And yeah, we noticed that too, Tim, when we seen your video of him being very engaged. It was actually Jacob pointed it out while we were live on air here. So
Quay Walker is the same way. When they break off into team activities and they start running, Quay is fully engaged behind that defense and keeping his head in the game. So it's good to see that with guys that are out right now and rehabbing, but staying focused on what's in front of them.
Yeah, before we get into this,
I was going to do it.
Yeah, before we get into offensive line rotations, let me just scroll back up for a second. So I don't know if you guys seen it. There was a tweet that went out before this one. Evidently, there's a new one now. Rasul Douglas just tweeted, "Thank you, God," and Coach Lynn said, "Could it be?" There was a tweet he had put out of a picture of him with an interception in a Packers uniform, right? Like back when he played for the Packers, and that got a lot of run. Wonder what's going on there, because they said that Rasul has gotten offers from multiple teams, and he's just turned down those offers. So, Listen, do I think Rasul is the same player he was when he was on the Packers roster? No. Do I think he's better than, say, a Kamal Hadden or a Kalen King? I do. I think he is.
That's 100% fair. I agree.
I wouldn't want him starting over Carrington Valentine unless he won the job, of course, right? But then again, Carrington may not be starting either, right? It might end up being Keyshawn and all that. So, yeah. So you guys,